The Story Grows. I'm Brian Patton. Today I'm stoked to welcome Edge of Paradise frontwoman Margarita Monet to the podcast. Edge of Paradise's Napalm Records debut, Prophecy, is out today. Margarita talks about the culture shock of moving from Moscow to Texas, her journey to becoming a frontwoman for a rock band, the ups and downs of pursuing music as a career, the themes on Prophecy, and more. Prophecy is a great record, and I'm excited to share this band with you, the listener. Make sure you check the record out today. I hope you love it. Thanks so much for listening to As the Story Grows. If you're brand new to the podcast, welcome. I would love it if you subscribed to the podcast on your podcast platform of choice. You can find links in the show notes to sign up for our mailing list, to join our Discord server, or to support the show financially over on Patreon. Enjoy today's conversation with Margarita Monet from Edge of Paradise. Good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. I know it's a busy day. You just had one of these an hour ago, so we will not try to make this boring. Is this a different, because you guys are on Napalm Records now, has this kind of record cycle been a little different as far as press and attention?
Yeah, it's really good because they're so on top of everything, and It's definitely much busier. So yeah, we're excited. It's great to work with Napalm.
That's cool. Where are you currently? Are you out on the West Coast in LA?
Yes, Los Angeles.
Yeah, nice. I know you grew up and spent some time in Moscow. How much? And you moved like fairly young. How much of that time before coming to the States do you remember?
Oh, everything. Yeah, I remember everything. I had a great childhood. I was very lucky. My parents introduced me to so much art and culture.
Yeah.
I started playing piano since I was like 3 years old, and ballet and theater, and we would go to museums and shows like every other day. So I'm just very lucky that I was immersed in it, and I really loved it. So. I have very good memories.
That's awesome. What brought your family to the States and to Texas?
I know. My dad, he's a scientist, so his job brought us here. And I'll never forget. Yeah, I'll never remember. We arrived to Houston in July, and it was like record temperatures.
Yeah.
And in the airport they really crank up the AC.
Yeah.
So when those doors opened and the heat hits you,
yeah,
stepping into the oven.
Oh my God.
It was cool. Yeah.
Oh man. How much as like a preteen is that a culture shock outside of just like it's hot as hell in Texas? Like, how much of a culture shock is it coming from Moscow to Texas and trying to integrate yourself into this new country?
Yeah, it was a culture shock because just lifestyle was so different. I remember me and my mom, we were walking on the street because, well, in Moscow, like you walk everywhere. It's just part of lifestyle. And people were honking in us and like, are you guys okay? So it was kind of funny. But, Houston, that's where we moved. It grew so much. It's a very different city now from what it was when we moved. So, now it's much more metropolitan and there's so much stuff to do. But at the time it was very different. And I mean, I was young, so I was just, experiencing a change. And it was hard to adjust at first. But, I found good friends and I had a great school. I was in debate team. I enjoyed that. I went to a performing arts high school, so I kind of found what I love to do
Yeah.
again. But it was a bit like starting from zero because, of the language and just everything was so new. So at times I was kind of sad because it is, starting from scratch kind of.
Yeah.
And that's why I think I wanted to I went to college in New York. I think part of me really wanted to go to a city that was kind of close to what I was used to. Because New York is, Moscow and New York, there's a lot of similarities, and also there's so many different people from all over the world.
Yeah.
So I kind of gravitated towards that.
Yeah.
Now I go back to Houston and I'm like, wow, I miss it.
It's funny how that works, right? Because your background is much more classically trained musician, musical theater, pianist, was there a music scene you gravitated towards in high school? Like, were you into heavier music or rock music, or was it all just kind of performance for you and school stuff?
Yeah, well, I was in theater. Like, I wasn't really into heavy music. Not till college per se. So
Okay.
yeah, still just piano, classical music, theater, musical theater, all that stuff. And then in college, I kind of started discovering. Actually, Symphony X was one of the first metal bands I discovered because they had those crazy keyboard solos, and I was kind of blown away by that. Yeah, and then I went through like a Marilyn Manson phase, porn. So yeah, I was like, this is cool. But I never thought I would be in a band.
Yeah.
So then I moved to LA, and that's when I met Dave, and yeah, we just started the band, and we started it because we come from such different backgrounds, but we aligned where we wanted to create something that we were both passionate about and wanted to kind of dedicate everything into it. And we started this band, and then I think over time I molded it into something that is relatable to me, like with the art and the music video, all of that stuff. And now, like, looking back, it's cool because everything, all the skills that I kind of acquired throughout, growing up, I kind of use for this band now. So everything I love to do, I get to do it. So I'm happy about it. I'm very lucky.
Yeah, it's fun. Like, my daughter is 10, and like I'm not going to say never, but presently she would not be interested in death metal or anything super crazy. But if I listen to a band like Nightwish or, Delane, or your band, she loves that because she just likes big, powerful female vocalists. And so that is like a gateway into metal where you wouldn't think you would like it, but you're like, I like the vocal performance of this thing. So
yeah. It's so
cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. What was the inspiration for the band name?
So we live in Los Angeles, and I think it was a bit of inspiration. We wanted to have a name that kind of resembles our background. Dave is more from like heavy metal, power, rock, and then I bring that melodic side to it. So some that has that duality, but also living in LA, it's a bit of like false paradise, and one wrong move, you're off the edge. So, a bit of both.
Yeah. If I think about bands that are kind of your contemporaries or bands you're in a genre with, your vocals stick out as kind of gruffer and more. There's an attack to your vocals that's not the traditional symphonic metal or like in Evanescence, right? Which are very beautiful and up here. Is that just a natural style or something you kind of developed that made sense with the band?
I think it's natural because I'm not a classically trained vocalist or anything like that. For me, it comes from the feeling.
Yeah.
So the feeling of the song is, I go with it, and whatever I hear in my head, I just try to make it with my voice. Sometimes it doesn't work. Other times I make it work. So I think that's also what helped me evolve as a singer, is kind of having that mindset that I don't have limitation. Whatever I hear, I'm gonna figure out how to, put it, sing it into existence.
Yeah.
So I think partly is because of that. Yeah.
Yeah. You guys have been a band for over a decade now, kind of just slowly churning, slowly releasing music over the years. I mean, it's really picked up, 2019, 21, 23, like really building up. Was there ever a point over this, decade plus where, it started to feel like, okay, maybe this isn't going anywhere, going to get any bigger, where it was tough to keep going, especially when COVID hits and then you can't do anything, right?
Yeah, well, I think that's kind of the question where you really have to figure out if that's really what you love to do, because you don't have any guarantees. It's not like, but looking back, I mean, really, the band started to take shape in maybe 2018, because before, like, I literally met Dave, and then we're like, okay, we're starting the band. So we counted the band from the day we met, which is kind of unrealistic because it takes years to figure out what you want to sound like. And the first album, Mask, we released under the name Edge of Paradise.
Yeah.
I didn't write the songs. It was all the songs that he had with the previous band, Bleed, that he had before he met me. So really, we didn't start till like 2017, 2018. And that's when I kind of started to really realize that it is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And, we wrote Universe, and I started exploring with, more of the cinematic elements, the music videos, art, and kind of putting it all together in my head. And also, touring, like 2019, 2018, we kind of became more of an international band. We went to Europe, we went to Japan, and we did US tours on our own. Like, we really paid our dues.
Yeah.
Kind of taught us how to be strong and overcome obstacles. Like, we are the band that will overcome whatever you throw at us.
Nice.
And I think that made us also realize that that is what we want to do. And yeah, of course, there's so many times, like even recently, like when we wrote Rogue, we had a bit of a difficult transition between labels, because there's a lot of forces that sometimes are out of control. So sometimes it makes you want to give up, but then we remember that we do this because we love it, and we have great people that support us, and the fans that have supported us from the beginning, so we keep going.
Yeah. How'd you guys get connected with Napalm Records?
Well, we've kind of, I mean, when you're in the scene, obviously we know a lot of bands that we love that are on Napalm. And then also we toured with Temperance, and Meek, he works with Napalm. Then our management made an introduction when we were on the Dragon Force tour, because Dragon Force just signed with Napalm at that time. So we met everybody, and it's a great vibe and great people to work with, so we wanted to make it happen, and it came together.
New album's called Prophecy. Where'd that title come from?
Well, so this album kind of really embodies all of our music in a way, and the story of the band, and all of the concept, behind the album set forth by Universe. So, in a way, that title seemed appropriate, and also sonically, I think we have 8-string guitar in this album, so it's much more expansive and a bit more epic. And like, the idea, because of the album theme, some of it is, the whole, like, this album is the standoff between consciousness and artificial intelligence. So prophecy is, I guess, for us to decide what's going to be our prophecy, whether we're going to be defeated by AI or overcome. But the main, I think, well, for me personally, I think the defeat is if we let artificial intelligence to kind of deter us from wanting to create, from wanting to expand our mind, because we rely so much on technology, and it's also easy to feel like, what's the point, because you can just create something with a press of a button.
Yeah.
So I think that's the main thing, is not to let it discourage us from creating, from keep being human, and from having the conversations. Like, if we have questions, we used to ask each other, now we ask ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Or whatever, So I think it's important to keep our human connection and expanding our spirit, mind, and soul.
Yeah.
And intellect, for sure.
Yeah. When you get the songs and you're starting to write lyrics and piece it together, are you thinking about how to connect them all together? Or are you kind of just like, I don't know, writing each song and letting it be its own thing and then maybe seeing a through line? Or are you just like, this is what I'm feeling and what I want to convey as an overarching theme?
I go song by song. I think maybe subconsciously I have something in the back of my mind that connects it all together. But what happens with me is, like, there's a song, and then this song inspires the next one. So there's kind of like that chain reaction that happens. So it naturally becomes a concept, because people can listen to our songs on their own and still, get the themes and understand it. And because there's a lot of different things I talk about, and a lot of it is very personal and whatever. But if people want to read into it, there's definitely a concept and an underlying theme that started from universe.
Yeah.
So kind of a natural progression.
Yeah. Who came up with the concept for the album artwork?
So I had an idea, and then I went to David Brabol. His artwork just resonates with me a lot because of the mood and the colors, and just the mood of his art really reminded me of me. I don't know, my thoughts when I was writing this album. So I kind of explained the concept, and I showed some of this that I liked, and we kind of put it together. So yeah, I think it's really perfect how it embodies the music as a whole.
Yeah. Album's out just under 2 weeks now. You guys have this massive North American tour with Delane, Xandria. I'm stoked for that to come to town. Is that just your plan to hit the road hard, do the North American tour, maybe try to do a European run?
Yeah, for sure. We definitely want to, tour a lot on this album. And yeah, it's exciting to pair up with Delane, Xandria. They're a great European bands. So excited to hit the road with them. Some of the venues we've played before, so it's awesome to be back. Some of them are very new, so that's always exciting. And then hopefully we have some plans to come to Mexico this summer, and also Europe. So fingers crossed we'll hit a lot of parts of the world. I want to thank people for supporting us, because we've started this from nothing and we're here because of the fans. So we really appreciate everyone. And also we're doing a giveaway. I'm giving away a big canvas painting, the Prophecy painting. We're doing a live draw March 8th from the tour. So that's pretty exciting. Yeah, I just want to say thank you, and thank you for having me and giving me the platform to speak.
的。